Not for a single person traveling alone, they aren't, Hilda states bluntly. I hope you know how to use that, she says, nodding at the sword belted to your hip. Michael of Torin Hall, is it Torin Hall, just Torin, not Toring. Torin Hall shakes his head. Sure it isn't as bad as all that? This is a duchy of Kendrickstone, not the Iron Marches. Hilda shakes her head. Normally I'd agree, but the guards did warn of a band of outlaws in these woods. I plan on taking such warnings seriously. She turns back to you. I'd keep my eyes peeled if I were you, boy. She's pretty good, it seems, with her wits, and I'm pretty sure that the bandits are someone we will soon enough see. Do we have... yeah, 100 silver pennies. We are in perfect health. We are carrying a sword, but we have no armor. That kind of sucks. I would like at least a ring mail. But you know, leather armor will do us well enough. Let's ask about Kendrickstone. The caravan master frowns as he looks up at the westering sun. You have quite a while to go, boy. It's been 3 days since we left, and we were hoping to reach Forest's Hollow today. I don't suppose you know how far down the road that is. You nod. I left Forest's Hollow at sunrise today, actually. The pump merchant mutters something under his breath. His head guard somehow manages to scowl even harder. So the cord damns us, she swears, a rather mild blasphemy. It's well past midday, and a single traveler on foot can go much faster than we can. We'll need to camp in the open today, she says. Michael of Torrenhall nods in agreement at his business partner's words. On the other hand, it would be best if you seek an inn to stay the night, friend. The woods are full of wild animals, and a single sleeping traveler is an easy prey. Hilda shoots the caravan master a smirk. That's the most sensible thing I've heard you say since we left Kendrickstone. Actually, there's a good stout traveler's house just up the road, the merchant suggests. We stayed there last night. Warm food, clean bed, and stout walls. If you can afford them, it's called the Growling Giant. Is it the one we saw? Maps. Yeah, Growing Giant Inn. So yeah, we're probably somewhere around here. We haven't passed the intersection yet, I think. Do I ask about the cards? Or do I not? Let's risk it. We picked up bundles of wool and pig iron from Kendrickstone, the caravan master replies easily. His guard's eye narrow in suspicion. Why do you want to know? She asks. You shrug. Just curious. Michael of Torrenhall nods, seemingly satisfied with your response. By the way, she looks at you. Hilda seems somewhat less so, but an exasperated glance from the caravan master forestalls any real objections from her. Safe travels, friend. The caravan master nods again, still smiling. Aye, and you as well, friend. With that, the whole caravan, guards and carts both, grinds and rattles into motion, resuming its ponderous progress past as you continue your own way down the earthen road. Within minutes, the caravan is nothing more than a cloud of dust, and the sounds of iron-shod hooves fades behind you. Sorry about that noise, by the way, that was my headphones. Before you've gotten much further, the sun reaches the horizon and the sky begins to grow dark. Didn't she say midday? Oh. This late in the day, mosquitoes come out in force, buzzing around you in thick black clouds, even as darkness turns the verdant forests to each side of you into ominous tangles of shadows. Great! The sight of a large building up ahead, with brightly lit windows and smoke coming out of its chimneys, is welcome indeed. As you get closer, and the sun finally dips under the horizon, you see that the structure is a large two-story hall accompanied by a row of stables and surrounded by a head-high stone fence. Sounds of music and laughter spills out of the open windows, and a bright watchfire burns at the fence's gate, next to a crudely painted wooden sign of an angry-looking figure hung from an iron post set into the gatepost. The Growing Giant's Inn, the sign says in bright red letters, visible by the light of the watchfire. You make your way past the fence, through the courtyard, and into the main hall. The high-ceilinged common room of the Growing Giant's Inn is bright and filled with the stink of urine, spilled ale, roasting meat, and burning wood. All the aromas of a human civilization, and a major inn. Maybe half of the benches in the big room are empty. The rest are filled with merchants, caravan guards, and other travelers, each busy with their own amusement, whether food, drink, dice, or song. Interestingly enough, this doesn't really work well with the theme that we have been going with for now, which is an empty road. But I have an idea that we might have gone from here, and there's probably another road here. So we came to, or past the intersection, and the guys are just going from here to here. Hopefully, because otherwise it doesn't make much sense. You walk up to the bar. Behind it sits the tall, burly innkeeper, idly polishing a bottle of some dark fluid you've never seen before. You ask him for a bed for the night. In response, the innkeeper rattles off a long list of options and their associated costs, from the expensive and luxurious to the downright squalid, but cheap. How will you choose to spend the night? Lavishly. I take the biggest room and order the finest food and drink. 15 silvers! Oh god! Comfortably. I get a small private room and some hearty fare. 8 silvers. Modestly. A bed in the common room and some hot food will do. 4 silvers. Cheaply. Some dry bread and a pile of hay in the stables is good enough for me. I'm gonna go with modesty. This is just way overboard. This is, and we shouldn't sleep. Someone could steal our stuff while we're there. So let's go with modesty. The supper you eat that night isn't the worst you've ever had, but it could certainly be better. Still, a bowl of honeyed porridge, a crust of black bread, and a tankard of almost sour ale fills your stomach quite well enough. That night you are shown to a straw-stuffed mattress on the wooden floor of one of the common bedrooms. There, you set aside your belongings and lie down among a dozen other sleeping men and women. Despite the accumulated fatigue of the day's travel, it still takes you some time to fall asleep, kept awake as you are by some loud snores of someone. It's too dark to know who. At the other end of the room. You suppose that it is something you'll have to get used to as an adventurer. Finally, you are simply too fatigued to stay awake. You close your eyes and do not open them again until the next morning. Despite your initial difficulties getting to bed, you find that your sleep has returned some of your energy. After a small breakfast of black bread, cheese, and more ale, you set off down the road to Kendrickstone once again. Cool. By noon, you can tell you are getting close to the city. In the distance, through gaps in the trees, you catch the sight of smoke from 1,000 chimneys. You pick up the pace, knowing that there are unlikely to be any more inns on the way to the great city. Finally, halfway through the afternoon, you see in the distance a tower of bright red stone, one of the spires of Kendrickstone's keep. You squint your eyes and lean forward for a closer look, which is why you don't realize you aren't alone in the forest until an arrow buries itself in the dirt of the road, just a pace in front of you. Yeah, here's our random encounter. The foliage to the sides of the road rustles, and out step half a dozen men and women. Each is armed, each looks at you threateningly, and each is clad entirely in black. Oh look, it's cute. You doubt they are here to exchange pleasantries. One of the black-clad men carries an ash bow in one hand. No doubt he was the one who shot at you. He steps forward, expression malevolent. One lone child wandering down the road when there are bandits around? Foolish, very foolish. Your muscles clench, your eyes widen, and you feel a bead of cold sweat trickle down your back. The black-clad archer, clearly the leader, pulls another arrow from his quiver and knocks it to the bowstring. Hand over your coin and weapons, boy, slowly. No sudden movements, or this next arrow goes through your heart. What will you do? I will fight them, of course. I would try to run and lose them in the forest. Or maybe I could stall them with words while I think of a plan. No, we're gonna fight them. It's gonna be funny if we get killed immediately. You reach for your belt as if to untie your coin purse. You see the bandits visibly relax just for a moment, and you take the only chance you're going to get. Quick as a lightning, your hand darts to the hilt of your sword. The man with the bow begins to pull back the string and bring up the arrow as your bright steel blade leaps out of its sheath. Sword in hand, you rush forward. As the bandit loses, you duck to the side and continue your charge, barely noticing the feathered shaft buzzing past the spot where your head was a moment ago. The bandit lowers his bow as you quickly close the distance. "Kill him!" he shouts, and he makes a run for it. Now the other bandits close in, some with daggers, one with a mace, and one nasty-looking woman with a broad-bladed falchion. You push forward into the mob, knowing that the black-clad archer won't dare fire when he has a chance to hit one of his own. The hard-faced woman, man, I should really be more careful when reading this. The hard-faced woman lunges at you with her falchion, face a cruel snarl as her bared steel comes at your throat. Your offhand shoots out, your forearm knocking her heavy weapon out of the way. I finish the bandit off. I try to avoid killing her. Well, she's a bandit, so I finish the bandit off. Achievement unlocked, Murderer. Years of training kick in as you bring your blade up and thrust the sharp point into the black-clad woman's breast. Your foe's green eyes go wide, goggling in shock as the heavy blade drops from her nerveless hands. A split second stretches into an eternity as she looks up again, confused, perhaps wondering how this green boy could have possibly killed her. Then she falls, the weight of her dying body pulling your blade free as she crumples in a heap of bone, flesh, blood, and voided bowels. Man, I hate when this happens. Like, she attacks us, so why should we be a murderer for defending ourselves? I can't believe I just murdered someone. It was a self-defense. She attacked me first. I could get used to it. It was a self-defense. That's right. You were defending yourself. You were within your rights. You're not a murderer. You're not a murderer. It was your wife or hers. Okay, that's a typo here. Your grip tightens on your sword. More bandits are coming, and you need to face them now. 2 more bandits rush at you now, one from each side. The one with the dagger swings from your left. You duck away just in time to see the flanked mace of the other coming right at your head. Desperation gives you strength, and you leap back just fast enough to avoid having your head crushed like a ripe melon. Again, your sword lashes out. This time the man with the mace brushes it aside with his much heavier weapon. The woman with the stabbing blade rushes forward, but before she can land a killing blow, she stumbles, her foot tripping over the wagon-rotted road. Before you can take an advantage of your opponent's momentary lapse, the other lunges forward with fatal haste. You leap back again and sidestep his blow, riposting wildly. Your blade flashes, blood flies, and the man with the mace is falling to his knees, his free hand grasping at the gash you've just cut in his throat. "Get back," you hear. It is only when the bandit with the dagger steps back that you see the black-clad archer standing not 10 paces away with an arrow pointed right at your heart. "You're dead now, little boy," he says. "Stop right there, criminal scum." The black-clad archer turns towards the sound of the new voice almost by instinct. He loses his arrow, only to see it bury itself into the painted oak of a stout shield not 10 paces away. The shield's bearer is a tall, muscular figure covered in a full suit of steel mail and a heavy grey helm glittering in the afternoon sun. So here comes the cavalry. The newcomer carries the sword and shield of a noble-born soldier and wears the surcoat of a knight. "Impossible!" the archer's growling, snarling voice suddenly jumps an octave. I shot you right in your meddlesome heart. I killed you." The knight laughs, a low, husky contralto echoing with her closed helm. "You tried to kill me, you stupid prat." The bandit scrambles backwards, hands shaking with panic as he tries to draw another arrow. The knight advances, slowly, deliberately. The archer loses his shaft, only for it once again to embed itself in the armored woman's shield. The surviving bandits rush the knight, and one of them lunges, a dagger held high. The mail-clad warrior barely breaks her stride. A subtle shift of her footing sends the charging bandit staggering past, and she knocks him down with a contemptuous flick of her shield. Behind the hapless attacker, the others stop in their tracks. The knight prowess has given them enough pause for her to advance on the bandit's leader, who has dropped his bow and now holds his dagger before him like a talisman. The bandit who seemed so frightening just a moment before has been reduced to a whimpering child. If you'd found me in a happier mood, I'd advise you to try to kill me harder next time, the knight jests, the dryness of her voice thick enough even to be evident through her helm. Today, however, I'm going to make sure you won't try to kill anyone ever again. The knight slams her shield into the bandit leader as if it were a giant oaken fist. The dagger drops from the archer's fingers, and the knight brings her blade down onto the bandit's head, cleaving skin, bone, and brain, a quick death. With a fluid kick, the armored warrior sends the archer's body tumbling to the ground. By the time it hits the forest floor, nobody else is in sight, nobody living anyhow. With the bandits gone, the knight wipes her bloody sword on her surcoat and rushes towards you, still holding her shield up. "Are you alright, boy? Have they hurt you?" she demands as she sheaths her sword and puts down her shield. You shake your head. "I'm alright," you reply. The knight gives you a suspicious look. "Are you certain? I'll not have you die on me because you decided to hide a wound for the sake of foolish, youthful pride." There is a pain in the knight's voice. She's speaking from personal experience. You are indeed still unhurt, however, and after a moment's inspection, your armored savior seems to agree. The knight helps you up with one muscular hand. She takes off her heavy steel helm and padded coif with the other to reveal a strong-featured face, barely touched by age, but heavily ravaged by the scars of battle. She offers you a polite bow as you find your feet, her short-cut moss-brown hair dangling in swear-matted tangles around her head as she does. "I have the honor to be the Dame Mildred of Sonnemercy, a knight of Kendrickstone," she says with a formality that seems to sit uncomfortably with her. "Who might you be?" "Zygmunt from Forester's Hollow," you reply. The knight nods. "Well met then, Zygmunt, and my apologies for not arriving sooner." You nod, though you can barely see how the knight's arrival could have been luckier. "It would be best if we put some distance between us and this scene. Those bandits might return in greater numbers." You take a look at the short stretch of road and the corpse of the man who almost killed you, lying unmoving in a pool of his own blood and brains. Getting away seems like a really good idea. Actually, I would search them first for any valuables, but okay. After about 200 paces, you come to a tall, sleek warhorse. Actually, why the fuck didn't I take the bow? That's just silly. After about 200 paces, you come to a tall, sleek warhorse, saddled, caparisoned, and tied up to a tree at the side of the road. Dame Mildred gives the horse an affectionate pat and begins untying him. "I suppose," she says, looking over at you, "you were bound for Kendrickstone, aye?" You nod. "Might I know why?" The knight pulls the rope free and begins coiling it up. "You seek a worthy master to take service with. I'm looking to become an adventurer for hire. I want to find my own way in the big city, or that's none of your business." I seek a worthy master to service with. That's kind of a good option. Mildred barks out a laugh. "A master? Well, you're in great luck, boy." Mildred nods back to where you first encountered her. "I saw some evidence of your handiwork back there. You seem like you can handle yourself in a fight, young master, and I happen to be looking for a squire." "Just your luck. Not 2 days after leaving service as Sir Callum's squire, you're already being offered the job of squiring for another knight. Of course, the woman who stands before you seems nothing like the aging Lord of Forester's Hollow. There's likely to be danger where this proud woman leads you, but the glory as well. You think it over. Steady meals and a warm bed do sound good, but tying yourself to a mistress, no matter how generous, might prove restrictive. So, the knight demands as she checks over her saddle harness, "What say you?" "I'm definitely interested. I'll need to think about it, or I'll have to decline. I'm definitely interested. The knight gives you a surprisingly warm smile. Excellent. Think it over for a bit to make certain, and then go to the keep in Kendrickstone City and ask for me. I'll have you enrolled in my retinue then. Finally, Dame Mildred finishes her preparations. She places a foot in the stirrup, and with a single fluid motion swings herself into the saddle. She brings her horse about, back towards the distant blood-red spires of Kendrickstone. She looks down at you from the saddle. If you'd like, I could escort you to the city gates. It won't be much trouble for me. Part of my duty is to keep travelers safe, after all. Sure, I'd like that. No thanks, I can make my own way. No thanks, I can make my own way. The knight nods. Very well. With that, Dame Mildred chucks the reins, and her horse starts trotting towards the city. Soon, she is nothing more than a shrinking cloud of dust on the road ahead. As you make your slow, steady way towards the city, the day winds towards its end. The sun is low in the sky when you finally leave the forest and find yourself a few hundred paces from the imposing stone gates of the city of Kendrickstone. Your journey is over for now. So yeah, this leads us to the chapter 3, and I'm gonna end it here and go have my dinner. I hope you guys enjoyed the first part, or probably first 2 or 3 parts, depending on how I'm gonna split it. I had fun. This looks definitely like a good story. I have my complaints about the plot line, but it's so far just your everyday D&D adventure. But I'm hoping that it's gonna get much better, and I'm pretty sure it will, at least based on the ratings it has on Steam. So yeah, join me next time for more Hero of Kendrickstone, and I'll be sure to provide you with it.